AJ Buckley talking wrong, you're right. Stories rolling like waves of dawn. Truth or fiction, which side you on? Real fake seal with sex appeal. Sunny shadow, but the man is real.
Guys, we're live.
Wow.
What's happening? We're happening.
We made it.
Eddie Cahill, Carmine Giovinazzo, welcome to Real Fake Seal.
My man.
Sir.
This is very exciting for me, and one, because you're my very first in-studio guest on my new venture, going solo on a podcast, Real Fake Seal, that handsome man up there with this guy, AJ Buckley. And
He's looking at me.
I was a little nervous. I was like, I thought you guys might get a little cold feet in the morning. You're gonna call, Carmine's gonna be like, got money. Yeah. We haven't seen each other in over a decade. We've kept in contact, and we've always said like, fuck, try to get together, and
But I feel like I see you because I see you on Instagram.
yeah.
But when did we really see each other in person the last time? Do you remember?
I don't actually.
I don't
I was trying to.
Have you become that famous that you don't remember the last time we saw each other?
No, that's you. You don't remember.
No, that's just I have a bad memory. Eddie can vouch for that. It has nothing to do with anything, right?
No.
Terrible memory.
I got a terrible memory. Dude, you know what's so
But
funny?
seriously.
So
God,
funny. It was
sorry.
like I was texting with my wife. She's like, "How's it been back with the guys and everything?" I'm like, "We went to bed. we basically were like, it was like 8 o'clock. And we're like, you guys want to get something to eat, or do you just want to order room service? Call it a night?" We're like, he's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, we went out for dinner, but then we're like, I'm gonna go to bed."
Yeah. It took a lot.
Yeah.
I
glad we did,
peeled
though.
myself off the floor and managed to stay up pretty late last night.
Yeah.
Should we talk about
Eddie
why
got,
we're here
Eddie
together?
got loose last night.
Yeah.
I did get a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, very civilized.
I'm very good at being in bars.
I mean, and the reason
great
why
at drinking.
we're all here, our wonderful, hardest working man in show business, the guy with the biggest
We're here
heart.
for the Gary Sinise Nashville Salutes Heroes
Yeah.
in Nashville, and it's
The first one.
This is his
Yeah.
first one,
Yeah.
and we all did it in 2014
Yeah.
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It was the first time he did it.
I mean, what a special moment that was yesterday. I mean, just getting to see Gary in his element.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying too, because
Yeah.
also Gary's a part of this too. I just wanted to bring Gary into
Yeah.
the equation because we're the three of us are here
That's why
together
we're
today.
here.
We're all here together, and Gary's here too. And
Yeah.
it's yeah. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I was like, I was gonna get there eventually, but let's just start with the fact
Yeah.
that like it's so good
Yeah.
to be here with you. You guys,
Yeah.
and Gary occupies such a special place in my life's experience in my heart. I just it's just so fucking awesome to be here with you both.
Yeah. And you think about the show itself and where we all were prior to the show.
Mhm.
And that's something I was actually I've never asked, like,
I was on TV.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
were-
know what
you
guys
were-
doing. I was
you were
busy. I was busy.
Jennifer
on,
Aniston,
yeah, I was busy on doing big
that
TV
story you told
things,
last night.
yeah.
It's crazy. He's like, which
Yeah.
was your first gig, Eddie?
first
Can
gig.
you just tell your first gig story, just to the audience?
Yeah.
Your very first gig, you're at NYU, and
No, I'm out at that point. I was doing a play in New York. I was doing an off-Broadway play, and I had auditioned for a role on Sex and the City, and I was a young actor. Auditioning was audition nerves were very hard for me to deal with. So I had shit the bed on an audition, like most of them at that point. Shortly after the opening night of the play, or I think actually the next day, Sarah Jessica Parker had come and seen the play, and I walked into the theater the next day, and there was a Post-it note on my dressing room station that it just said Sarah Jessica Parker and a cell phone number, and someone came in and said, yeah, nuts, totally fucking
that's
nuts.
never happened to me in
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah, no, I have. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, no, I'm going to hell. I've learned that about myself. I was like, there's
never.
there is
Sarah
yeah.
Jessica Parker just
Yeah.
left you her number.
Called. Well, she saw the show, and so I called her up. She's like, "Listen, there's this role. Do you want to come in and read with me?" And I was
How
like,
bad
"Of
you want it?"
course." Yeah, I was like, "There's no universe."
Did
where
she
you
pick
say
up the
no.
phone when you called?
It was her cell phone number.
Really?
What? Do you
That's
still have
crazy.
it? You still have it?
No,
You didn't keep that Post-it note?
no,
It's not in a
no.
photo album.
No,
somewhere?
'cause at that point in my life too, I'm like, I don't deserve anything. Let get rid of it.
So you came in and,
Yeah.
and read for it?
I came and read, and now it's like her and producers and the whole thing. And to talk about shit to bed, I was so fucking nervous.
And you've never had a producer session? in your life?
Never in my life.
But for the people at home, like explain to like what that looks like when you walk in the room.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it feels to me like that's a part of the world that's gone for us.
Yeah.
But it was, I walked into a room, nothing super special about the room. I think it was at Silver Cup Studios in Queens. And in the room, she was there. She greeted me. There was a casting director and a reader. No, not a reader. She was there. And, Michael Patrick King and John Melfi. And all I knew was very powerful people, very influential people, I thought everybody was like some genius, and then me, and walked in and absolutely felt that I had no business really being in the room, but was thoroughly excited and willing to be there, and came unglued in some way. I was a young professional, so I pulled something together, but it wasn't good enough. And she then got tickets for the producers to come and see me in the play that night, and they came and saw me in the play and hired me after that.
You looking to amp up your ride? Total Off-Road and more has got you covered. Whether you're shopping for custom wheels, lighting, or you just need something installed like a spray-on bedliner, they're your one-stop shop for all off-road, performance, and automotive needs. Find a location near you at TotalOffRoad.com. Total Off-Road, where every ride becomes an adventure.
Wow.
That's what I was told.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
really
remarkable.
nice
It's
of her to
really,
do
So
that.
she
it's
not-
really,
not only-
it's
not-
really
Yeah.
nice.
Not only she give you her number, she then goes out of her way,
Yeah.
buys tickets, sends
Yeah.
the producers over.
The number was like a one-off. It wasn't a gift. It was like, you may call this number once because I want to ask you a question.
You're like, hey, girl.
Yeah, exactly. I think this was even like, pre-text message.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is like before. The first text message I ever got was from a buddy in Ireland, and I was like, what the fuck happened to my phone?
Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, but this, yeah, exactly. But this was before all that. Yeah.
Wow.
was
This
like-
has to be what?
This was like when you would get an
2019?
audition, the agents would send a script via like carrier.
Oh,
pigeon
yeah,
yeah,
that
I
would
remember
arrive
that.
like hard
Right.
copy stuff.
But
you
pigeons
know?
would drop it off.
Yeah, I miss those days.
I do, because you get a
I missed
script.
it. You get a script, you get time,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
there was time. Now you get emails. You're like, this audition's due yesterday.
If I read a script, I already have like trouble reading, but reading on the phone, I can't.
I can't do it.
No, you can't
I'm
do
the
it on
same way.
phone.
I
You
have
do
to-
it on a computer. at
Yeah,
least,
yeah,
no?
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I can't do a screen.
I need paper.
Do you still print things out?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like the screen's punching me in the eyes. Like,
Yeah.
I just.
I remember
can't-
going into the
can't do
agency,
it.
and then you'd go up to the desk, and there would be the box there. There would be the boxes of the manila envelopes. You know? And
Yes.
I used to remember picking those up, and
Yeah.
I think at the time, I feel like, I don't know why Bronson Pinchot was
Oh, I
coming
love
into
it.
mind,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
and you'd see his script,
Yeah.
there, and I'm like, oh wow, this is so cool, you know,
Yeah.
like Bronson Pinchot.
I remember, like, and then you'd have like on movie sets when they do revisions. There's like pink revision, salmon. There's like a,
well, they still, do
yeah,
that,
but it's like
yeah,
there's just pages of
I
pages. You
know.
walk in the trailer, it's just like fucking
you
pages
wasted
everywhere.
a lot of
yeah,
paper,
Yeah.
actually,
yeah.
in that,
A lot of
right,
trees,
in that,
you know.
Yeah.
A lot of
But there was,
trees.
I remember being a young actor when you start getting scripts from an agency.
Oh,
you
yeah.
got
Yeah.
representation. Those things felt like sacred.
Totally.
You know,
Yeah,
I
with
saved
their
them
logo
like
on
Per
it.
our conversation.
Yeah.
And there was covers
yeah.
on the script.
Covers
of,
on this
like
yes.
well, what's the word?
And there was
I'm
a
gonna say
conversation.
Fiberglass. It's not
Yeah.
fiberglass.
Oh, yeah.
No, but I know what you mean.
The hard paper
Yeah, there was a
cover.
different
Yeah,
paper
yeah,
for the
yeah,
cover. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there was something very.
Oh,
I miss that.
yeah,
I
it
miss
felt
that these
like-
things are precious. I miss that they felt like a gift. They felt like
Yeah.
you had been
100%.
invited into a club and you
Yes.
were being given something to
Yes.
be,
Yeah.
tended to and
Do
worked
you remember
on.
the first time your name was watermarked on the script?
Friends?
Oh,
Is that right? Am I making that up? Maybe the answer is no.
So
So
for
Eddie's first job, folks, was Sex in the City,
I'll say
and then
Friends.
Friends.
Yeah,
Friends, in which he goes from Sarah Jessica Parker to,
Jennifer Aniston.
I mean, yeah, bro, that's unbelievable.
So that's what I was doing before CSI.
I know. Like, how did Friends happen? 'Cause that was like
Jennifer
that was the biggest.
knocked on his back door.
He was at a.
He wasn't home, so she left a sticker
Did she
there.
leave her number two?
But she left David Schwimmer's number because she was a little nervous.
Yeah.
Did she leave her number two?
I mean, it's I hate to tell. I hate to
If
sort of
she-
go on and
Oh
on.
my
No,
gosh,
but
yeah,
it's
please tell us how you
We got an
this
hour.
one,
It's
man.
kind of equally ridiculous.
Tell us the
actually.
hill you climbed for this gig. Tell us the 7-mile hike you did upstate New York with snakes
No, I know.
crawling around
No,
to
I
get
know.
through.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
This is great.
I know.
I love you. So
I was
much.
like an extra in Die Hard 4. That was my version,
Yeah.
which I was like, there was 3 callbacks. I had to tell him I could roller skate. I had to do a certain amount of pull-ups. All right. You get there in a scene over here in Central Park.
And it got cut out.
And it got cut out.
Yeah. I feel like I probably shouldn't tell that story.
No. So what happened?
I mean, it's
Because
it's like
this is Friends at the biggest moment. Like Friends is the biggest show in the world.
yeah, it was big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the 7th season. I think it was big. It felt like a version of the Prime, but I don't really know.
When legendary American iron demands perfection, Ranger Point Precision answers the call. Handcrafted in Texas, our premium aftermarket parts transform your lever-action guns into a work of art that perform just as good as they look. From perfect fitting components to innovative design, we're keeping the spirit of the American West alive, one rifle at a time. Ranger Point Precision, Texas made, America proud. Built for those who demand excellence.
It's at Warner Brothers lot, which I think is one of the most magical lots. It's
100%.
Don't you agree? When you walk in there,
100%.
it's like everything that I ever dreamed of as an actor. When I walk onto that set, every other studio in Hollywood has a very like sterile feeling, but that one is like it reminds me of like
You're in the pictures.
You-
kid.
yeah,
It
it's
feels
The
got
lot
that
itself.
kinda-
You mean,
the beach,
And the
guys-
mountains through the when you're
Yeah.
looking through down
the
the
guys
road.
are pushing the lights like you see in the movies, and someone's carrying a tree, and it's like
Yeah.
there's golf carts going by.
Yeah, and
someone
like
headsets.
Spielberg's in one of the golf
Yeah.
carts. I remember Spielberg and then
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards went by, and I was like, "What is going
Yeah,
on?
it's like you're
what
in.
just happened?"
Do you ever see
Yeah.
the movie Wreck-It Ralph? Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, it's been a while.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
but like
yeah,
you know when
yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph shows up and all the characters are there, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
like that's.
yeah.
It's like you're
Yeah.
there, and you're just like I remember like just sitting there, and every time I walk through that gate, because I remember at Warner Brothers, you come down. What is that? Lancashire. You come down Lancashire. That
Barham.
Forest,
Barham,
Forest
Barham.
Lawn.
Yeah.
Barham to
Yeah.
Forest
Yeah, yeah.
Lawn, and then you
Yeah.
enter on the side.
you
there.
go there and you park, and like all the shows that are on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember, I would sit there I'd walk across the street all the time. And there's that cool restaurant that have the nice, they give you the cheesy bread.
I don't know it. I know it. I know
Is
it's
the
a
green
scene, but I
roof?
don't.
Is
Yes,
the
I
green-
know exactly. I've actually never
What
went
on
there.
Riverside? Where
Over,
What does Barham become when you're passing the front entrance? Like before you get to
it becomes
pass.
Alameda, I think.
but I would go.
turn around. Oh no, it
Actually,
becomes
it's the club. It's like it's
No,
right-
I
it's
know.
by- yeah.
I worked at Warner Brothers for the first time,
Just recently?
just on the pit,
Really?
just a couple months ago.
You were
And-
very good on that.
Thank
by the
you,
way.
Ed.
I Nicky was watching it, and then I could hear the voice in the other room, and it's like I lit up, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Rewind it!"
Yeah.
and went in there, and
they called me
and
too.
went back, and yeah, man, you're so good.
Thanks, man.
You're so good.
That was so
I-
sweet
I-
when
I lo-
Nikki
I
texted
loved-
me and then you guys
yeah.
called me. But that was you guys.
Yeah.
You
I
guys
just
obviously
love
worked
it.
at Warner Brothers, but that's what you
Yeah.
did friends, obviously. That's what
Yeah.
you're saying. But
Yeah.
for me, you know where I live now.
Yes.
On the golf
I
course.
was able to walk. I mean, Warner Brothers.
Oh, that's
is-
You walk to work?
I didn't because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
But you know, it was so
Yeah.
cool to go 60 seconds, and I feel what you're feeling about
It's just-
Warner Brothers
there's-
because
it's
there's
just-
the old. I thought it was
Yeah.
the old Back to the Future set.
Yeah.
Is what I thought it was, but
Right.
apparently it's the Gilmore Girls, which I
Yeah.
didn't know about, but my cousin knew about it because he had mentioned. I told him I was
Yeah.
working it. But so
Yeah.
it's a great.
It's just there's so much history, and
Yeah.
then they have the plaques of like all the shows that were there
Mhm.
before. It is a really sort of thing. So just to finish up the story here, so you walk in and you're auditioning for the character. Do they tell you what it is?
There's a backstory to it in that it kind of comes out of that same play I was doing in New York. I'm doing this play, and then there's a guy waiting for me after the play who wound up becoming my manager for the 20 some odd years of my career. I won't bore you with the whole thing, but
Yeah.
ultimately we start working together through. I mean, I think the story of my early career is actually it's got all these weird little. It's kind of magical, actually. So we start working together, and for whatever the reason was, that was very offensive to the agents I was working with at the time. And I'm one of these guys where it's like, if you like me, you'll have to kill me to get rid of me. I'm
Yeah.
just so happy to be liked by anybody.
Yeah.
So like my agents, you know what I mean? I'm like, I love you. You like me? Great. You're in. We're friends forever. You know what I mean? Like, really? Like,
I
it's
can't
so,
believe
yeah.
this.
Like,
I'm
sorry. Like,
yeah.
now we're in love. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this is how this works.
It's like golden retriever.
Yeah, totally.
I'm your friend. You're my friend. Where's the ball? Let's play fetch. You want to go for a walk? I do too.
Oh my God. That you just reminded me of what was the animated movie you did with you were the dinosaur and the big
dinosaur,
chase
yeah,
scene.
yeah.
I went to see that with my kid, and I don't know how old he was at
Yeah,
the time,
yeah.
but during that chase scene, I had one of these kids that like you could not contain. He's
Yeah.
fucking like he's vibrating in the fucking seat. And at the climax of that chase scene where I think you're victorious in it.
yeah.
My kid screams out in the movie theater and goes, "Ha, dick ass! You're a dick ass!"
That's what AJ said.
No, it's my kid said. That's what Henry said in the theater.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, I love him."
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Ooh, Jennifer Aniston. We want to
Friends.
get friends.
How did you get friends? AJ wants to know how you got friends.
Do you like how I dragged
Could you
this out?
simplify
This
how you
is
got
like,
friends?
yeah.
We have 5
I'm
minutes
trying to
left in the-
simplify it.
we-
So
we have 5
I
minutes left in the
start working
podcast.
with this manager. The agency situation that I'm in
So
blows up.
They didn't like that you got a manager.
I don't
They
know
just
what
wanted-
happened. I don't know why this happened. To this day, I don't know. But there's a whole fucking story behind this where like I meet the guy, this and that. The next thing I know, my agent tells me I'm having a meeting with the owner of the company. And at the time it was, it was a company in New York that was like a mid-level but prominent agency. I have a meeting with this guy who's basically like, oh, there's a whole other fucking, there's like, it really is ridiculous. I had a general meeting with a woman who was a casting director at the WB. This is pre-Friends.
Oh, WB. That's
WB Network.
UPN and
Kathleen
WB, yeah.
Lettery.
Yeah.
And she's single-handedly kickstarted something in my career. Prior to that, I had met this manager who became my manager at this play. One of the things he said to me after me was like, I like you. I think you're good. You have no tape, right? I didn't know what that meant. That meant I had never been on television. He's like, so I can't sell you in LA, but let's keep in touch. Great. We keep in touch. The Sex and the City thing happens. So I let him know at some point, like, hey, I'm gonna have tape,
Yeah.
using the lingo.
Yeah.
I don't know quite the timeline. That I have this general meeting with this woman at the WB, Kathleen Lettery. At some point I'm in New York at the time. At some point in Los Angeles, Kathleen Lettery and this manager, David Seltzer, who became my manager, are having lunch. The way he tells the story is he's paying the bill, and he says to her at the end of the lunch, "Have you met any young or interesting actors?" She says, "I just met this kid, Eddie Cahill, in New York." He says to her, "Would you do a holding deal with Eddie?"
Right. This fucking guy
It's ridiculous. All of this is happening totally unbeknownst to
that
me.
is?
I
Yeah,
think this guy, we
this
can
is
get
like back
there.
in the day when you get holding deals like this.
Yeah.
But this is awesome.
So
yeah.
now my
Yeah, it's
phone
amazing.
rings.
Yeah.
Holding deal.
Wow.
And
And
you're
out of fucking
you're-
nowhere.
You're like holding coffee? What am I holding?
Exactly.
What am I holding?
I'm like, this sounds great.
Tape? I'm holding tape.
Yeah.
You want me to?
So this thing starts to get worked out, right? Like it takes a while for that to happen. I bring that news to the agency I'm with. This is what started it. This is what started it. So the next thing I know, I'm having a meeting and I'm conflicted because like at this point I'm like, my parents know my agents. I'm like this. I think we're family. Like I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? And they're good people,
Yeah.
right? Like and they're doing their job. I don't know why this guy got a fucking hair up his ass.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I'm having a meeting with him. He's telling me this guy's lying to you. There's no holding deal. And I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? And then I go back to this guy and I'm like, hey, this is going on. And he's like, well, it's going on, this and that. I had just this is back when you used to sign contracts. I had just signed like a 3-year contract with the agency.
Yeah.
I eventually kind of gamble and I'm like, well, I'm going to go with this guy. So the agency, so they dropped me. Right.
Wow.
So now I'm with this guy. He's like, okay, so I'm going to come into New York with the manager.
Yeah.
He says, I'm going to come into New York, David Seltzer. We'll take meetings. We'll meet some agents. We do that, blah, blah, blah. I like these guys at ICM. He says, we'll come out west and meet the counterparts. Now I'm young, right? I don't have
How old are you at this
money.
time?
I'm 21, 22.
Wow. Yeah.
So I go to Cheap Tickets, which was an outfit up by Grand Central Station where you could go in and buy paper plane tickets, like third parties did. So I bought a ticket for like $237 to go out to Los Angeles. My girlfriend, who I just met, who's now my wife, had spent some time in LA. She had a friend I could stay with. So we set this whole thing up. I go out there, I meet with agents. Finally,
What a magical time!
It's so exciting,
it's
isn't
like,
it?
You
It's
look back,
so
it's so
exciting.
simple. We had no. You're just chasing something.
And you know what? This is the thing that I struggle with in today's day and age.
Yeah.
The fundamental component that is missing nowadays is connection with people in the fucking real world.
100%.
All of this is like, I saw you, I met you, I met you, I met you, I met you. And I reflect on this now in this era of like self-taping and this and that,
Yeah.
which I realize for me has served to be a totally demotivating experience.
Yeah.
If I'm not like if I'm not vying in front of people to be selected or be like, or have that fear of like, shit, I want to impress this person. There's no, and now I'm just making fucking tapes in my kid's bedroom and I'm not getting work. Like, I'm not motivated to do this.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
done.
not the art form, and just watching your eyes light up about the like, because I remember those days. I remember being in Los Angeles and getting the audition. I had a pager, and I had to have fucking in my fucking shitty Honda Civic. I had to have a full of cup full of quarters. And every time my mom and dad would come down, like, don't forget you put quarters in here for your son. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, so if I got a page, I'd have to stop over, and I'd always like, there was a great cell phone. Remember where like Crunch Fitness was on like Sunset
and Crescent Heights.
Yeah, there. Yeah. So I always was like a thing because there was a the coffee shop there where all these hot girls would hang out, and I'd be like, oh, good, got a page, and I'm like, God, I got my agent is gone. So I'm like, hello. So good. Like, I would go on the phone and be like, hello, and then you have to put another quarter in because you're running out of time. Like, okay, and then you go down to Kinko's and you'd print it out at Kinko's on Sunset and Curson. Yeah, it's just like, but that was
so charged.
And then you'd get it, or they'd fax that shitty fax paper, the long fax thing, and you'd be like, and you're like,
CSI New York was a fax to me, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Was it?
I remember getting a fax for that, and I remember seeing you. Didn't I see you on like Crescent Heights?
Dude, so
and
crazy.
You were in your car on the side of the road. I don't even know if we know each other, but I saw that independent film.
Dude, it was so it's so crazy. I just got goosebumps.
Remember? Yeah,
I remember that day because I'd seen your stuff before, and we seen you like through town, but I never like had a full on conversation with you.
Right.
And you were already on TV and established, and randomly at the light though.
I wasn't fucking on. Fucking,
Jennifer, Angelina Jolie.
Holding deal. I don't know. Should I go with seltzer or ice? Yeah, I'm just so torn.
I remember you like honked the horn. You're like, hey. Like, hey,
yeah,
and I'm like, I just saw you. You're like, I just saw your movie, Blue Car.
Right.
You're like, great work.
Wow.
And it's the first time ever in my career. True as my father. Fucking that somebody noticed my work. I was
nice.
and I'm like, oh, dude.
How nice.
I'm like, what's up, man? And that was,
I don't know how we even. I think I just saw you, recognized you.
I never met you before.
I remember watching before I got on the show because I wasn't in the crossover episode and seeing you jump on the screen and you just fucking blew off the screen to me. I'm going to admit something. You really did. I was like, this guy's fucking, this guy's cool. And there was a period of time where I was like, I want his respect. I want this guy to like me as an actor. I knew you'd like me as a person. I trusted we'd find that. You know what I mean? When I got there, and I don't know that there was a moment, but when I got that, I think it helped me ground in the show.
Very cool.
You remember there was a show you did. It was like with Busey or whatever.
Oh, UPN Network.
Yeah.
But
I loved
it.
I loved that show. I loved that show.
Yeah.
I loved that show.
Dude, that show was off the wall.
Oh, it was so
ahead
and
of
you
its
had
time.
Vern
So politically
Vern,
incorrect.
Oh yeah.
Vern Troyer, Mini-Me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was I just remember watching that, and then I remember when you stopped, I was like, "That's the dude from the show that I like." I'm like, "This is
can't
crazy."
believe I didn't
That's
know
cool.
you, and you know how Eddie knows I have no memory. When we reflect on CSI, but I have that visual of being on Crescent Heights.
You're driving a black SUV.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just have that vision, and then you just parked across the way and looking at you through your car and just noticing you. It's so weird. I remember that.
Yeah,
and then I don't know how we.
How did CSI New York happen for you? What was that process?
It was a fax. I feel like that. I remember reading it coming through, like, oh, Brooklyn born, police officer and all this stuff, going like, oh wow, I think I'm kind of right for this, because at that time I think I tested that year for a couple things, and I was at that point where I was. I mean, maybe my father always says that I did say this, that I was going to come back home and I was going to, study or get into writing or do something else, because I was at that point where I gotten so close to getting so many things, and I did Shasta McNasty, which was a blessing early on, which was crazy comedy. Blah, blah.
What year did you move out there?
I moved like 96, 97.
Yeah. Okay.
And
right.
when you're doing this holding deal, that's right around.
That's 99, 2000.
Just a few years later.
We moved out in 2002.
I came in 98.
Yeah.
I had come out just to visit, and I met my manager. He got me an audition while I was here, and that was the Buffy the Vampire Slayer pilot, which is like my wow, okay, and I got it, and that was my get out of New York, move to LA moment, because I just went back and said, okay, I got this job, let me come out. But then to fast forward to CSI, whatever, like 8 years later, got the fax, was like, holy cow, this is right for me, you know what I mean? Because it was always, I felt like, you know, it's hard to find a role that, if I would lose roles, I would always say, well, that guy probably is more right to play the lawyer for the whatever it might be.
And just to give context too, like, so when, for the viewers at home, like that listen, when you do a show, you'd go do a pilot. Right? It's not attached to the biggest franchise on television in the world, because CSI was the biggest it had Vegas, then it was Miami. Right. So you knew, like, they weren't doing a pilot. Was this straight? But this was like, it was a pretty.
It was a good shot. Yeah. You still had to wait for the pickup.
Was Gary attached yet, or was he?
Yeah, he was, because, and again, I really didn't think about that. I was so kind of like being the artist at that time, and just like,
but it's like if there's one that's going to go,
So maybe that was in the back of my head somewhere, but I was just so hung up on trying to get a job, and so happy that I was right for this. So, you know, then went through that process that we go through, which was like, I met Risa Brayman, Garcia.
Which is someone called you.
Job. I got the Post-it note. They came and saw me perform down when I was doing this singer-songwriter thing. They came and listened.
Audition.
Totally. So I auditioned, Dad. This is when you go in and you meet the casting director, and they're like, don't really pay much attention to you. You try to do a good job, then you wait, and they're like, oh, you were pretty good. Then they make you come back again.
No, you find out it wasn't the casting director.
They don't just have lunch with a stranger and then call you up with a bunch of money and be like, hey, TV's waiting for you.
No, you find out that you didn't audition for the casting director. You auditioned for the assistant things that actually gave you the wrong sides, wrong character. You went to the wrong, like,
meeting 2 casting director, meeting 3 casting director producers, meeting 4, and then we're going to get the test deal and on all that stuff. And then, but I have a funny story, because
how did the test thing happen? Like, what was that like?
Wait, hey, sorry, did this thing move?
No.
Okay, I'm nervous.
No, you're perfect. I can tell.
It just feels like it's in my face.
Is the Uber here, Ed?
No.
Is the Uber?
You look great. Your eyes are beautiful. You're so cute.
No, but it's my insides.
Wow. Yeah, Eddie.
So tell me. I feel like we should start a podcast.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe this is what's happening. Wait a second. Is there room for us up there?
Real fake cops.
No, but so the test deal was interesting, because I was so kind of like spent at that time. So I was kind of like more fearless, I think, than I ever was. And so you go through, so you get this 6-page sort of scene that I was doing the whole time. And now I have the test deal, which you go to CBS, which was on Beverly. And you're going down to the whole thing. And there was like studio network.
And that was at a time where like you would go in and test, and there was a bit of a stage, right? Like did they have that set up for CSI in New York?
Like they had seats going from low to high, and it was like a little theater. It's a little theater.
And you signed for you signed a contract that's like before
you're out there like vomiting
for 7 years.
You're gonna make thousands of dollars in 5 years.
And there's 1 or 2 other choices, and then so it's split up in 2 days.
I'm looking over, and there's freaking Baltazar Getty.
Oh wow.
And some other dude, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose another role to Baltazar Getty. Baltazar Getty's gonna get the New York, Brooklyn guy over me. I can't believe how.
Your head just starts
like that. No, because that's
sort of
like I said to you guys the other night, you're kind of losing these roles to these same 4 or 5 guys that are sort of staples in the business, and they're around. So it's like every now and then somebody's like, hey, we'll take the other guy. Yeah. So that's right. So I'm thinking that, and I got these scenes. But the funny beat is, I think I knew that they had sent me new scenes for the test deal. They sent a whole rewrite.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, oh man, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not gonna, I was so hooked and had the scene that I was doing for weeks leading up to that. So I just said, fuck it.
The night before?
It wasn't maybe the night before. But it could have been a couple days before we knew the test deal was happening in the studio and all that stuff. And I just made the choice at the time, like I said, when we're young, we were just talking about this. Like, I guess I just I didn't worry more. I didn't worry as much.
So did you say, no, I'm not going to do that?
I didn't say anything. I just kept the old ones.
And did those?
Correct.
Ballsy move.
Which was
that is a
I used to have balls.
Move.
You guys know I don't have them
I've seen them
anymore,
before.
But
you got a nice set of balls.
I used to have nice balls back in the 2000s. Hello? Hold on. But it's funny because so those guys are there. I didn't know the other kid, but I obviously recognized the other one. And I told Reese, I said, listen, I'm just going to walk in And when I walk in, I just want to start the scene because the way the scene was written, I arrive on a crime scene. I arrive on a crime scene. Like, hey, what's going on here? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you want someone say smoke, I'm your man.
yeah,
That's your
And
opening line. I'll
You've
never
grown up,
forget it.
to give some context too, like your family, you come from a family of
My dad
cops.
was a police officer. My sister was a police officer. My brother.
So you knew this was in your blood.
Yeah, so it's like I didn't really have to figure out how to be.
You've seen your dad do
those
this,
kind of people. You know what I mean? I grew up, it's blue collar where I come from, cops, construction workers, firemen. Yeah. So I just go in and I just start the scene because that's how I'm doing it. And so, but 5-6 lines in, Risa, or they're like, what the fuck is he? What the fuck is he saying? And she's just like, I guess. But Carmine, what do you? This is not. You're not doing the right. You're not doing the right scene.
No,
and this could have gone.
No, but I am.
This could have gone north or south. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
This was the moment, do or die, right? Like I'm making this choice, and the reason it's everything, and this we all should learn from this, right? I wish I could now have the balls, but I said, yeah, I know, this is much better than the rewrites, and all of a sudden, and you hear,
wow,
I hear. In the background.
And it's Eddie.
Fucking Eddie's in there with Jennifer Aniston and Sarah Jessica Fox up in the back row. Just, I don't know why. He already got the gig because he was offered CSI, by the way. He didn't audition for that.
That's the only offer I ever got.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic. It's crazy. Yeah, I know.
It's like fucking Orlando Bloom over here.
I know.
Just coming out the fucking gate. Like, boom.
You would look like a good elf, though. You would be a great elf.
So, yeah, so I hear that laugh.
Hates me.
And then they were like, oh, shit. So I'm like, do you mind if I just they're like,
Who
okay.
was the laugh? Do you know?
I'm going to tell you.
Oh,
So
I love
anyway, I
this.
go back out. So I have to do take 2. So I'm going to
Yeah,
walk
this
back
is
out
much
and then
better.
come back in. And this is the scene I'm doing. So maybe I gave her my sides or she had them or whatever. So I come back in, I do it. And I was like, I had this one down. So, and then I go back out and we're sitting out there and me and the 2 other guys are out there. And then I think it was Risa who came out or somebody came out and they went over and said something. The one dude, she went over and said something to the other dude and she didn't say anything to me.
Oh, I've been there before.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm not.
Oh, you
And,
feel your heartbeat in your
yeah,
forehead.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the worst.
So anyway, they go in, one goes in, another goes in, and then she comes back out and she goes, okay, now Carmine again. So I didn't really know that I was doing it again, so I do it again. Anyway, long story long, that was Zyker, I believe, who created CSI. Because obviously I think they asked him to rewrite maybe
Right,
something
right,
that he
right,
didn't
right,
want to
right,
rewrite, and
right.
he knew the original one was.
Wow.
He agreed that the original one was better. And but a
awesome.
funny ending to the story, not to like
That's awesome.
dig on Baltazar Getty, but I think if I'm not mistaken, we get in the elevator, and I think he said something like, "There's no way I'm beating out a Carmine for this fucking part," or something like that. He had that moment where he says, "Like,
Fucking ethnophobe.
you're gonna, how
motherfucker."
this WAP is definitely gonna get this job."
It's rare too that you get that strong sense. I mean, I think about that when you this comes to you, you identify as like, I think I'm right for this, and that, and that actually came through you so strong in the audition room that you said, I'm actually not going to take these rewrites.
Yeah.
Like that's an interesting.
I mean,
Because you can't do that. You can't be like, I'm gonna go in and tell these guys which way to
Yeah.
go. It's like, but that came from that place, I think.
Well, like
that sense of like, no, I got
I was
this.
so right for this.
Yeah.
I
It's
could
better
just sit
ask-
into
it's
my own voice.
it's better to ask
That's
for
right.
forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Right.
that like just
Yeah.
because if you had said, "Can I keep the sides? Can I keep this?" They would no. But the fact that you went in there and just went like, and you did it, and they saw that it was good. I mean, it is. Would I recommend that to anybody?
Yeah.
Probably not.
You
I
can't.
don't think I could ever do that.
No, you can't because
No.
it's not a. You don't.
But you
don't-
know in the know, and it happened
that's
for that
it.
reason.
Because
yeah.
it came from a different place. It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't come from you going. If I do
Yeah,
this,
it
then
wasn't
maybe they'll think
contrived
I'm.
or
No,
planned and
no.
thought
But
out.
remember,
Yeah.
last night when we were
No.
talking, and it was a realization I had when I started being on the other side of the camera watching actors come in, and when I saw other actors come in, I realized you don't have competition with other actors. Either what the person sees. So I guarantee you, when you walked in the door, Anthony Zyker saw you come in, especially if you started the scene and your DNA is a New York cop. You can't act that, and you had that presence on set. Like you had that thing, like, oh, this guy is the guy. So I think to tell the story that they want to tell, and I think, look, you had the Vegas, you had the Miami, it's very flashy, but if you're going to tell like a New York story, you needed like, it was a very well cast thing, and you had that, like, you know, it wasn't like an English guy put in
Yeah, it was
you know,
authenticity,
like
right? Yeah.
a New York accent on.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, and I think what's for actors and stuff, there is no competition. There, it's you against you.
Yeah.
But if you are the character, and what I love you said that you should go in the room and make a choice and fucking commit to it. And just be 100% that. And if they like it, great. If they don't, like we were talking about this the other night at dinner, was that I love sometimes too, like my age is like, hey, they want you to audition for this. I'm like, great. I love to like because I'm going to give my take.
Yeah.
And if they like it, great. If they don't, then
But it's like Eddie said. Now we're doing it. I'm freaking
tape
going in the
thing.
fucking office with my wife, and I'm gonna I'm worried about the lights and the camera. I'm setting up the thing, and it's so not creative, and
it sucks.
you kind of get it up to just, you know, there's no connection, there's no energy. There's
It's just hard to motivate to not like even. Another way of seeing the competition thing, at some level, I think what you're saying as well is like you see a Balthazar Getty in the room, you're like, I respect that guy. That guy is somebody who's going to get a job, whether it's this one or not. And so, like, I have to come to play.
Yeah.
I have to come, and it also
it's like being in the batting range,
100%,
or being in the game. You know what I mean? It's like you're just when you're up at the plate, and it's
but
on,
it is like being in the cage.
like,
but Barry Bonds is in the cage next to you, and you're like, well, I want to hit the fucking ball too. You know what I mean?
Like different.
Like I miss the camaraderie of the audition.
Yeah.
Because over time you wind up signing in, and you wind up making friends, even if you're not.
Your description before of like going when you were saying about the payphone and calling, like I just flashed back to walking on whatever lot it was, and you're going through the back, and there's these, you know, bodegas or the little rooms. the little houses. What are they called?
Bungalows.
Bungalows. These little bungalows, and you're looking for the one you get in. I remember just early on walking in, like you're saying, and I'm like, that's the fucking dude from Two Pennies and a Ball of Lint, kid. What's the great Gummo? Not Gummo. What's the early?
You thinking
movie?
Leo Fitzpatrick?
No, it was the kid who died.
Oh, Justin from Kids.
From Kids,
Justin,
and I had just seen that not long ago, and there's this fucking kid, and I knew he was like a wild kid and a real whatever. But I'm saying, so it's like, there was something just about being in the mix, and you're there, and you meet these people, like you're saying, you end up shooting the shit with them, or you just have this. It's like,
it's a sense of comradeship.
What you do in that moment, as opposed to what you do in the back room of your house by yourself, while you're trying to concoct something, and the material is not always great.
And it's not like someone can give you direction.
Correct, and there's no like my wife, was actually and I'm like believing her now. And I'm like going, then I take beats going like, she has no fucking idea what she's doing. And or does she know? Or you know what I mean? So I'm like, and then, you know, then I have buddies who you guys all love, Jeff, and then he's got this like wonderfully optimistic attitude where like you can do it as many times as you want, and you're doing your art and you're doing your craft and you're working on it, you know. So I'm like,
that's true too.
That's so true. And like I have a couple buddies. I have that buddy, then I have another one who was just like, oh my God, this is like fucking just so painful and just so.
I mean, the truth for me too was like I also just never got a fucking job again.
Right. Then there's that.
It's like that all started and I stopped working. Like without the ability to
go in the room.
If I quite literally, it's like I can't say I wound up doing a small part in a movie recently, which I did fucking get cast off tape. I used to be able to say I made tapes for 6 years. I never got a job. I got a fucking job. I was like, well, that's not fair. I can't say that anymore. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it pushed me to quit. Yeah, I quit. I stopped doing it. I was like, I'm not doing this. This is not a nice way to live my life. I like working. I like auditioning.
You know, I was thinking a lot about what you said there, Eddie, and I got a lot of respect for you to sort of make that decision because you know there's so much of this industry that time is as we get older, you know, it's so precious.
Amen.
And being a dad, and you know, just life happens, and this business is it's like shaving. If you look at like a pile of shaving cream, it looks like there's a lot there, but there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
And if you can't ground yourself out, if I can't look at my kids and say, I'm going to be gone for a while, and what I'm doing is going to move the needle and make your life better, and I'm going to be fulfilled. If I can't do it, then I don't want to be away from them.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, that's right.
You know, and I was thinking about what you were saying there, and you just were so honest when we were working out that morning. I was like, wow. Or I was like, you were talking about making furniture and like doing things like you you made a decision. This is not making me happy. I'm miserable, and I have one life and time. The time that I have, I'm not going to be chasing this. That magic that I had isn't there right now. Maybe it will come back. But you just
listen. Because I would love to be in a scene with you guys right now. I mean, that's not an issue for me. And I mean, we sort of joke about
what it's become. Yeah.
I also feel I have a responsibility to honor my experience, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that when I say that is like no part of my story. I was becoming angsty about it. I was becoming disgruntled about it, and I was like, it would be such an insult to fucking suffering if I wound up suffering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's enough of that going on in the world. Like I cannot allow any part of my story to turn that corner. It is time to say thank you and goodbye, because I have been, you know, we laugh at it, but the truth of it is like I've had a charmed experience as an actor. It's like if I can't be pulled away from that into some other space to start to write a new story. That of some kind of suffering. I was like, I can't do that.
Would you ever do a play again?
I would do anything.
Yeah.
I would do it all.
Because you still love the craft.
I love being an actor.
it's just
I love
what the
working with
business-
actors.
He's got to post it on his car right now to have a gig.
It's Shania Twain. We're in Nashville.
I'm joking, but I'm
But
being
you're
serious. Like,
100%
of course you
correct.
want to work. We don't want to go
100%
through
correct.
the
If I felt for me there was hope in making tapes, I'd be making tapes.
I agree with you. Yeah.
But that to me, it's like there's no part-time version of this life. Like certainly we don't lay bricks, but the amount of consideration, like when appointments are coming in, and listen, it wasn't a lack of opportunities coming my way. So it was like it's a full-time job. I was like, I'm too old to put this. I think what I realized too is I have a desire to want to get better at things. I can't do that alone in my son's room. So I'm going to go find something. So I'm going to go try to build some skills where I can grow and craft and grow. Spend time doing things that make me better at what I'm doing. If there's no hope for that in whatever pursuit I'm in, then I don't have time left to give away.
The business can consume you as an artist, and it just doesn't give a fuck what you care about. It doesn't. No. It's so shallow. There's
it's a very specific priority.
You have to, if you go in there searching, like you are gonna find something deep within yourself with this business, you're fucked. Like you've got to find that on your own prior to going. You have to have that strength within and be like, you're down to roll with whatever this is. But you're finding the happiness in the people that you're putting plays up, doing the work, putting the reps up, whatever that. If that the starving artist that or whatever that is connecting to the work, but when it does start to get that. The bullshit of what the business has kind of become with the brands and this and the Instagram and this, and that is a whole nother side of that has become that.
And that's like a real job.
That's a whole nother.
That's like a thing you have to do.
And it's a new era of thing. And even the kids that are coming up in,
we always say how you're like I'm so impressed by you, and I also want to punch you in the face with how good you are at putting yourself out there and being on the
so gentle.
What?
He loves so gentle.
No, because me and Eddie are more, we're just sort of resistant. I'm so ignorantly resistant to, like, I didn't even I want to punch him because he works out so hard. He works so hard. He puts himself out there so much, and I'm not doing enough. So we always jive on that reality, and it's just like, it's self-sabotage in so many ways, and I know it, but it just doesn't, come. It just, it just takes a lot of work. You work harder in many ways, but like the business has changed, like you were just saying, and I haven't been able to exactly adapt and move along with it. That would probably help me to obtain what I'm trying to
but
obtain.
only but again, you have to, like, if you're not motivated to do something, or if you're endeavoring in things, like I realized, like, as I got older, you get more specific. Like there was some point when I don't want to, when I'm not drawn to do something, if unless there's like a need, it's like you have to do this for some reason. You know what I mean? If there's just something where you're like,
But you have a choice now.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
exactly. Separate of that, it's like my body just doesn't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I just don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. I'm for whatever reason. Like I'm saying this to you to be like, don't beat up on yourself. You're not doing anything wrong. It's like
Right,
if you
right.
don't do it,
Yeah.
you don't do it. Yes, might that mean that you?
Things are harder.
Yeah, or you miss out on opportunity, or you're not part of a current thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that may mean that thing, but it's like if you can't do what you can't do. you know?
What from CSI New York? Because that was my first big series ever, and I have so many like moments in time that like I'm like, well, I remember that, and especially like the last couple of days hanging out, like having flashbacks. Is there like a moment that you'll reflect on from that show that you'll have a memory like I remember this moment, and that was like that? Wow, like this is I don't want this to end. Or I don't want was it that magical moment where you were on set or that you recall on? What was that moment for you that you look back on for CSI New York?
Oh, you're gonna have to give me a minute. I
I feel like
don't know. Yeah, that's.
This is
I'm gonna
maybe
find it.
not
I'm gonna
answer the
find-
question,
yeah.
but I don't know why I'm like relating it to De Niro and Pacino and Heat.
Yeah.
but I feel like me and you had our first scene. Like we were in the diner. I reflected. Remember, we had to sit across from each other in the diner, and I feel like it was the first time we ever actually had to do a scene.
Was it the
yeah.
diner at Warner Brothers?
I don't know.
No. 'cause it
I've never
was-
been to
it was
Warner Brothers
Radford,
until
but
2
go
weeks
ahead,
ago.
keep going.
But
I'm half remembering.
No,
but
I
keep
think
going.
we're. I think
do.
we're
I feel like I have a
in
sense
one of those
memory
down.
of it. Yes.
I don't know why this came to me. That's how my
Yeah,
memory works.
go.
But I'm just saying, I feel like it was the first time we had a scene where it was about because it was a backstory and it was
Yes.
about what I've been through, or I got fired or something, and you had to like sort of open up, and we had to get emotional with each other or whatever.
Yes. do
I
remember
think
that.
I don't know if that's what you were asking, but I have
Yeah.
moments like that, that are. That's why we do what we do. There was a bunch of guest stars too on the show and different moments, a lot of moments on the show. But that was one moment I remember that I'm like, oh, this is why we
Yeah.
do what we do, because we were having this like this real, because a lot of the CSI thing could have been, a little paint by numbers to a certain regard, and some of the fundamental aspects of it that you have to do the exposition and all the lab work sometimes, which you made really unique and funny, and you brought your thing to it. But anyway, that's just
truly.
something I remember doing a scene where I was like, this is why this is great, and this is why I want to be an
I think
actor,
that was the episode where you made Sergeant, and you wound up or in that period of time. Did you got involved in the character got involved in some kind of a bad shoot? It was a bad shoot.
And I got
That's
fired.
what it
I
was.
had to leave and go.
That's what it
Yeah,
was.
and then we met up, and it was
Yes,
like a
I do remember
personal
that.
scene that
Yeah.
hadn't been done too often on the show.
Yes.
that we had to do.
There was one moment where I knew I hadn't seen it done at this level before, and I saw it in your guys' eyes and our writers' eyes when we did the 9/11 episode. And I remember looking at the monitor, and John Dove was beside me, and he just kept saying, "It looks exactly as I remember it." Like when the buildings were. Remember that scene?
I sure did.
And
Yeah,
it
we
was,
have a great picture.
but it was like there was a scene where the smoke was coming.
Yeah.
Like,
I just got white ash all over us.
but it was like, but there was this. I remember for me, I remember Dove, who was such a he
New
was just like this
Yorker,
big
yeah.
back,
Yeah.
like fucking cartoon character, like he was like you remember the Navy SEAL Jocko. Jocko and John Dove, they kind of like this. I always like, I'm like, God, he reminds me of John Dove, but just like this really funny guy, but just like the best stories, a guy you want to go fishing with, and
a police officer.
Yeah,
for those
yeah,
listening who
yeah.
don't know, was a New York City
Long
police
Island.
officer
It just-
for 20 some odd. No, say he was NYPD.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
from
oh,
Long
yeah,
Island.
yeah, he's
but
from
just a
Long Island.
great dude. But I remember him there, and there was just like everybody was around the monitor, and there was like a real like we made something that like paid homage to something that was horrific, but we got to be a part of something. But to see like people's eyes, like God, it took me back to that moment, and even the response from that episode, people, because there wasn't like shows that were doing it, and we did it in such a way, that was like it was so big at the time for how we filmed that, like CSI New York was that brand, and it was one of the biggest shows in the world.
Yeah.
And to be a part, when you look back, it's like, dude, we were part of like that's still airing. But to tell that episode in particular, I just remember, and the pride that Gary took, and that the writers took, and Sam, and Pam and Peter Lenkoff, and just Zach was there that day. Like there were so many people that like,
and so many New Yorkers, all those folks,
and then there was some of the our stand-ins were from the East Coast, and like there was just this connection. We told this story, and it was like, man, what a great moment is to be a part of a TV show. Because, we do episodes where we took a fingerprint of like a spaghetti noodle, but then we told this story, and it was like grounded in this character, these moments, and people were like, this looks like, it was just a very real moment. Like, man, I'm really honored to be a part of this, thing here. And then just, with Gary too, how the pride that he would take in those stories.
I when I think back on that, I'm like, I was always struck by how uncynical Gary is, right? Like, as a man of a lot of experience, this and that, and there is a pride to the way he approached the work, and he took the show very personally. Yeah, I wound up getting a text message from him. I mean, it's within the last couple months. Folks know his son passed away.
Yeah.
There was an episode that we did called "Charge of This Post" where my character gets blown up, and he saves my life, right? He brings, he's there. I get a text from him out of the blue. He says, "You remember the episode Charge of This Post?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "It's one of my favorite episodes. I rewatched it." And there's a moment where, like in the text, he says something. He's like, "I was rewatching it the other day, and I thought about the things I was like, I was saying the things to you in this scene, and I was thinking about saying those words to my son."
Wow.
And I was like,
yeah.
I walked away like this. So to kind of like orient it back to your question, like I am humbled at like the seeds that were planted in the making of that show and how they come back and pay off.
Yeah.
I remember I was walking back to my apartment, and I had to sit on a bench. I was like, I could not believe how the show found itself to me in that moment, in that expression.
Yeah.
And from him too, which is great that he's inspiring that. And I feel the same way when we have our texts throughout the last couple of years, and the way he expresses his affection
100%
for that time, and the way he and I'm always going like, dude, wake up, man. Have that same, like, do I not have that?
No,
enough?
you have
you
it.
got it.
You do, because I'm like, I'm not like, we talk somewhat frequently, and every time I'm on the phone with you, I'm like, man, I hear your voice, and I love you.
I love you too.
I love you. You're a brother to me. It's such a unique, and being here with you, and I am not shy anymore.
You're gonna make me cry, Ed.
Yeah, I love it. It's good.
But Gary, but that, I mean, it's really, obviously we have that, we all have that together, but coming from him, and I don't think people
see his face yesterday.
I think people do know. I mean, the guy is, I would always use the example, we'd have guest stars come on that were arrogant and had attitudes, and I wanted to smack this fucking face off some of these kids, because our lead fucking Academy Award nominee, Of Mice and Men, Steppenwolf is like the nicest, most humble, sort of down to earth, treating everybody. And then these, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think we got so
he's the best lucky. Yeah. When I showed up, like I was living in my car, like this show, like I would know. The day I found out I got CSI New York, I had $32.95. I still have that bank receipt. I have it framed in my office.
I got back from shooting the first episode of Friends, had $19.50 in my bank account. And the holding deal hadn't come through yet.
And Jennifer Aniston's number, and Sarah Jessica Parker's I remember on set, I don't know if I've ever told you a story. So when I was on, I was so nervous, and I saw you before. My character didn't even have a name yet. They said like, "Hey, come down." There was a potential for it to turn into something, but I was like, "Who knows?" So as we come along, I show up, said I see you. And you're like, yeah, you're good.
And we did now we know each other because we did U-Boat.
Yeah, that's right. We did U-Boat. That's right. We done U-Boat. Yeah, and I was playing like a doctor. I had one scene like, hey, what's up? You had your hat on the side, and your big Popeye arms and stuff like. And that's right. So Scotty Kahn and all those guys. Tony Giulio was the director.
Exactly. That was a great cast.
And that was actually a really good movie. Bill Macy.
Bill Macy.
Yeah, he was great.
I played guitar with him in the trailer.
Yeah, great guy.
Such a cool guy.
And I go on a set, and I'm so nervous. And because I'm dyslexic and they're just giving me the sides like that day, I need a process to understand it. I've got to say all these big words like Asphodel, Guadalupe, True was one of the words I had to say.
You didn't have to deal with that crap.
Thank God.
Yeah, I remember,
Dead.
and Gary goes like this. I go, Asphodel, Guadalupe, True. And he goes, brown algae. I'm like, why don't I just say fucking, I think John Dove wrote that up thing, but Pam and Peter and they were all behind the monitor. So Gary comes in and I'm freaking out because it's Gary Sinise. And he just won the thing for Truman and all that keep like so all
that
these
was a moment being like, oh, shit.
So I was and Lieutenant Dan. So I'm like I shake his hand but he just had that. You know when he'd walk on set, he'd just have that stare.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he hates me. I'm like, oh. so I go through the thing and I'm in the lab and all the little science beakers and stuff are everywhere. And in the thing, I'm kind of mumbling through the thing and I hit over the thing and I kind of stay through it and he's just staring at me like this and he has one line which is brown algae. and I like go through the thing and I hit over the thing. I turn around. I ask for Guadalupe. He goes, brown algae. And he's like he's getting more angry and angry at me. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm getting more nervous. And then they say cut. And Pam literally she goes, AJ, the choice you're making to make him nervous and that's great. Keep doing that. And I'm like,
oh.
Yes. And I'm sweating, and I'm like, oh, she's like, and then Lenko was like, that's funny, that's really funny. We're dying behind the monitor. That's great choices, and I'm like, they think I'm acting.
Wow.
Right. I'm like, brown algae. I'm like, oh, he hates me. I just like kept going, and then and then they started writing in. They brought me they told me then they said you came by the my trailer. We're in the houses at the back. Remember?
Yeah, and they kept replacing your character or that character.
Yeah,
on
they've
the
done
show.
through 5 things.
Yeah,
and then they put me there. I mean, I was in a back. It was before you guys were up on the thing. We were in that house at the back. Remember?
Yeah,
where
we would have the caterer. Was.
Yeah. It was houses there. So I was in there, and they knocked on the door, and they're like,
He said houses. It was like a trailer.
A trailer, yeah.
Yes, like
but I remember you knocked
together.
on the door, and you said, "Hey, what's up?" You're like, "Welcome." Thing like. So they're having you stick around, huh? And I said, yeah. And I said, yeah, why? And he goes, they just added you. They're adding you to a scene. I'm like, oh, okay. You're like, it's good. Remember that? And we talked, and then and I was like, do you know what the scene is? And he's like, no, they're just told we're going to add you to the scene. And I'm like, I didn't know what was happening. Yeah. And I didn't know whose character's names was what. And they just gave me the name Adam. And I kind of came in the scene. I was jumping on people's lines, and they're like, stop. But made me more nervous. Wow. And then it kind of worked, and you were very like,
I was definitely pushing for it.
Yeah, and then you went up and said something to Pam, and and went out of your way to do that. But then I left, and I was like, man, that was the worst experience. I talked to my agent, and I'm like, how'd it go? I'm like, oh man, I knocked over the thing. Gary just kept saying brown algae and was mad at me, and I think he hates me. And then an hour later, she calls like, they want to bring you back for 2 more episodes. I'm like, oh really? And they came back, but they wrote the second time. Adam bumbling through the thing, and it kind of came this thing. So
it's kind of like you were saying about the test. Like that's a moment where it's just like you were honest with yourself. And
I was living out of my car, like I need this so bad. Yeah. But it was crazy. Like you go through all of this,
It's funny what you're feeling on the inside and what's translating on the outside. It's like that was always a weird thing to kind of navigate and be like, it doesn't really matter how you if you feel like, oh, this is awesome, like everything is going great, it's probably boring.
It will be conveyed.
And that's the last thing you want to do is watch an actor be like, I'm awesome.
Did you remember? I was thinking
or just be planned. You have that whole plan before he does it.
I was thinking about like just some moments. Like, do you remember when like Mick Jagger?
Yeah.
That was
we went and saw them.
It was Mick Jagger.
Oh, when I just went to see the Stones,
and he recognized you from the show.
Yes, no, that's Keith. No. Who's the paint? Wow, Woods, Ronnie Wood.
Yeah.
Ronnie Wood.
Yeah.
Ronnie Wood's like big fan of CSI New York.
This is the craziest thing.
We were at a thing where I was like, I think it was Adam Rodriguez too. It was like one of the many things we had to do. And Ronnie Wood's there, and I go, oh, well, fucking go to see it, so
yeah, that was always.
And he was with his wife, and he was like, I'm a huge fan, and I got to him, and then he invited us to the show.
Yeah.
I went to his art show. I bought one of his paintings. He's an amazing painter, Ronnie Wood. He's the nicest fucking guy in the world.
This comes back to me. That's so.
There's so many crazy things.
And your dad,
my dad happened to be in town.
Yeah.
Oh, but the story is, I think we were driving to the Stones concert. I remember my dad's like, "Oh, I don't have anything to wear or something." And we were going to like find my dad a pair of jeans at like the Beverly Center or something like that. And we're coming back on Beverly, and I shit you not, you see the limo entourage. It's the Stones, but I'm driving. I'm at the red light, and then the window rolls down on one of the things, and it's not Mick Jagger though, but it's Ron Wood.
And
he's like, "Come on!" And I'm like, "What the?" I'm like, "We're heading to the. I gotta get my dad." He's gonna follow us, mate. Just get behind the limos, you know. And I'm like, this is happening.
What is going? I was calling my dad and be like, "Dad, you're not gonna believe this." Because my
man.
dad introduced me to the Stones. I have the LP that my dad left for me. And every time I hold it, I always remember. I'm like, that was the most.
That's
He
fucking
rolls down the window and he goes, he goes, "Come on!" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" It was so
and I take my. We get to the concert that night, and he kind of like put us in a cool spot, and he was so nice to my dad. And I remember, who was there? Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
And Jamie was like,
this is before Jamie was Jamie.
yeah, I mean, he definitely still had his shit going, but he was so nice to my dad. He was so kind, and I think one of the blonde woman from CSI Miami was there, and we're all like in their little, they got the curtains, the Moroccan fucking, the room set up, and they were just all so. I mean, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, I think, kept to themselves, but Ronnie and the rest of the band were very cool.
It was the most surreal. Cool. I'll never forget. Like, what are the chances? Come on! I'm like, and your dad was like, whoa.
So we were just talking about this. We have so many moments that if we really sit and think about them, that are just unbelievable. I mean, Rome, Italy, all of us.
Italy was my favorite. Yeah. So I remember, we were on set and you guys were like, the Roma Fiction Festival, blah, blah, blah. And it was Pam, the English publicist, right?
Yeah, she was awesome.
She was a sweetheart. I still have. She gave us a passport holder to put our things.
I still have that.
I have that. I
didn't realize where that came from.
That was from Pam.
That's right.
The Tiffany thing. It was I still have it. Like, it's my favorite thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's
I don't have mine.
I stole yours.
You lost all the good gifts.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Remember when Uncle Jerry gave us the Cartier watches for the 100th episode?
I'm still scared to wear that. I think before I moved out of LA, I was like, I should probably take this to that store they got it from and have them size it for me just in case I ever wear it. But like,
I lost.
You haven't touched that.
You lost yours too. He lost his.
You haven't touched it since you got it.
I think I've like put it on.
So
in the house
I
wear a Casio watch that actually doesn't even work.
It's so funny.
Yeah. No, did you lose yours?
Yeah. So I lost mine. It was right after my dad died, and we were coming back I was coming back down to Los Angeles, and I had it. When you go through TSA, they said take the watches and stuff off, and I was just in a daze because I was with my mom and she was a mess, and she was coming down, and I left it in the bucket, and then I literally got like halfway down, and I was like, oh shit! And I ran back, and I got him, and I was like, man, I'm like,
snatched that shit.
yeah, and it was gone, but it was like whatever. Yeah, it was like, but I remember being like, because it was such a, I very rarely, and the only reason I brought up was like, I'll wear this to my dad's funeral, and like I wanted just to wear something, like I wanted and it was just, it was one of those, because I still have the red.
Your dad's wearing
but I still have the red box.
Yeah,
because I was like, I remember going down to Cartier and like getting it fitted, and they looked at me and they're like, "What are you here for?" I'm like, the watch thing. Yeah. But it was like that. That's when like the 100th episode, because it was a big deal.
That's a big deal.
That was a huge.
Did it have a black band?
Yeah, black band. It was the Porsche. It was the Porsche Cartier black matted band from Uncle Jerry. It was like,
I lost mine.
That was a crazy. That was a
huge.
Yeah,
it's a nice gift. I think it was also from CBS as well. I think it was a
But how about
gift.
all the
but Jerry
presents?
presented it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that blew me away too. All the present thing that I realized was a part of being on a show. They were always so. I always thought, like, who puts this together?
Where were you on the day that you found out that show was canceled? Do you remember that day?
I think I was at my son's preschool and I got a text.
Yeah.
I think Zach texted me. Yes, I was at my son's preschool.
What was that like?
I intuited
Didn't we know it was coming?
The real possibility that it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just started to feel like it was, but it was still shocking, and sad.
Yeah,
it was sad. I was like, I don't like saying goodbye again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, I could have. I could have happily. I could still be doing that show.
Oh yeah,
relatively happily.
And
that
CIS, 22 episodes. 23 seasons.
But like our set was great. There's like not anybody I ever bumped into from that show, whether they were on construction or accounting. It wasn't like,
well, if you think about it, like
we had the best thing
well,
going.
people like it's almost a decade of time. Like people like got married, people died,
People had kids. People like,
like even
all
like
of it.
remember like when we met Gary's kids, they were babies,
kids.
and then when we were down there,
What about Anna? He just saw Anna's growing up children.
We saw both those kids were born while we were doing the show.
Right.
you know,
And now her daughter's off to college.
didn't you say Hill Harper was 70 when he started the show?
Yeah. I mean, he looks so good.
He looks the most.
So now he's got to be what, early 90s?
105.
And
He finally looks 40.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like when you're working with people for that amount of time, and it goes quickly, yes, but it's like you're just in this whirlwind and the heights of the show, and but then there's the tragedies, like me losing my dad, and you going through all your things and all the things that I remember. We were talking about this the other day. You were with me in New York when I found out my dad was sick.
That's right.
It was like and we were like we're down. We were like the
We were by like 7th Avenue, around south of Varick Street. I just drove past. I told you the other day. Drove past and like.
And I got the call, and I was like,
we were in Soho actually.
And I remember you and I were having a great laugh walking around, and all of a sudden got the call that my dad, like, I got to come home, and I was just like, and then remember you came out. I couldn't get through a scene because I just had got back, and then I left the set because I just got emotional. You're like, what's going on? I told you, and you're like, fuck. And I didn't know at the time it was serious, but I knew that something was wrong. And then Pam and just everybody was so fucking, like, the way everybody stepped up, you know, Pam was like, AJ, go home.
Mm-hmm.
We're still going to pay you. Don't worry. Go be with your family. It was one of the best things ever, you know. And individually, you guys called so many times to check on me.
And then we go to Israel right after that? Is that how far along was that?
It was like 6 months after he passed away.
Yeah,
which was like a whole thing. But there's such great moments in my life in that time of, like, you know, and I met my wife right at the end, but like, it's not just about doing a show, you know. And we've been so lucky that we got to you know, so many shows go and then they get canceled.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
know, and many years for the last.
Because in those experiences, sometimes it does become about like, oh, I just did this job and then it ended, and then
No,
it was
but
like, we got so lucky.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I think we had that moment too. I think like 3 or 4 years in, because the first 2 or 3 years I thought I was doing Taxi Driver. Right? I was just like, I'm like, I just want
he could not accept the world he was in.
Yeah, I'm just
I was
like,
this guy's
then it's
gonna
like,
calm down
okay,
at some
this is
point.
where we are.
Yeah.
I
Just
want
do the show.
I want to come out of my own head.
Do the
I'm
show.
trying to win an Emmy, and all I want is an orange juice.
I'm not how unsatisfied here.
Just do the fucking show. Just do the show.
But I had the beat with you, I think, where it was like, and you know, me and you were just rolling all the time, AJ. So we were doing our own thing that was wild and whatnot. But you and I were like, I think I remember getting that point where like, okay, this is about being here.
And
this is about the time we're spending.
Yes.
Relax with the, you know, not that we didn't do our work, but because now it's like having
But
flashbacks.
you spend so much time off set on set, right? Like the amount of time we spent in our dressing rooms. It's
and
like
instead of waiting, we're not waiting anymore. I'm watching Eddie. Okay, Eddie's into comic books now. Okay, Eddie's playing guitar now.
We're throwing darts.
Eddie's into
you got the scooter.
Right.
I remember you show up at the Vespa. Race helmet.
Oh yeah, that lasted 3 days.
Yeah, I remember.
I was like, I'm gonna learn
Which
how to
one?
drive a motorcycle. I'm
You
gonna
drove a
drive
Vespa.
scooter.
Did
I
you
was
get a
like, I was
scooter?
terrified.
Did you do the Vespa for a beat?
Yeah, on the 101.
We got back from Italy. And I was like, Vespas. And then I got out in LA traffic for about 8.5 minutes. And I was like, this is over.
I brought you both to play golf.
Jen
I also
Wilkinson
brought you
bought that
both.
for me.
Did she?
Yeah, she bought
Hey,
it. She still
so-
has it, I think.
So there's a part of this new podcast where I threw out some fan questions to people before with my Patreon account. So
I was like,
I wanted to. I said
it's naked
there's a
tat.
Patreon account where they'll know prior who the guest is, but then they can ask questions, and then we randomly choose some questions.
Yeah.
So I threw it out there yesterday to see who would ask some questions. So I have some questions from fans, and I want to.
Nervous all of a sudden.
No,
He's
these
looking
are
at me
fans.
like
This is
he's
good.
got one. I'm
So
like,
this
what
is
do you
for
got there?
Eddie and Carmine. This is from Claire Hemsworth from from Patterson.
What's up, Patterson?
If they
My friends
brought CSI New York, if they brought CSI New York back, what storyline would you love to have your character tackle? Eddie, go.
What storyline would I love to have my character type? This is like, I'm like, I got to go back in time here and figure this out.
If it brought back like right
now,
where would your character be? What was your character's name again?
Don Flack.
Don Flack.
Jr. Here's a funny thing.
Don
This is what I love about The
a porn
show,
name?
there's a total porn name, Don Flack Jr., right? So we go from season, here's a storyline I'd like to tackle, how this happened. We go from season 1 through season 9, and in the end, I think somewhere around the end of season 9, the sister, Don's sister, Kathleen, it's Kathleen Monroe, who I loved working with, they go to spread the ashes at Yankee Stadium of their father. So I'm going to say this again. My character's name is Don Flack Jr. So we go to spread the ashes of my father. What's my father's name?
Don Flack.
Henry. So I think the necessary storyline to tackle is how the fuck my character got named Don Flack Jr.
That's really
with a
funny.
dad. Henry.
That's so funny.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is really
So
funny.
maybe Junior, maybe it was actually
Yeah.
just Junior.
Yeah, Junior.
Like maybe I had 2 middle names.
That
You
is
know what I
true.
mean? Well, no, because that's not a middle name.
That's
Yeah,
so
so that's
Wait,
it.
your father's
From-
name was your son's name?
Yeah, I think that was done as a nice too. But it flew in the face of
Right,
the name
yeah.
of the character.
Yeah.
Well, Legacy NYPD, Don Flack Jr.
Don Flack with a mustache. I would think you'd come back with a big mustache handlebar. And
I wish I could.
I know.
I wish I could. Listen, I'm not going to be modest right now. This is a very good-looking face. Okay,
Yeah.
it does
Keep
not
it
work
clean.
with the
Keep it
We'll look good
mustache.
at a handlebar.
What did you? You know what? I need to see Dogtown, right? Like I gotta
I did
watch.
have a
I
bit
gotta
of a
watch.
mind.
Did you
You know,
have
I
a
have a decent-
mustache?
I have a decent
You've been. He's been in
mustache.
such
Yeah, I
good
know.
shit. This fucking.
I know it's not
bastard.
fair.
Anyone like to tell a story about how dinner ended last night? We can get into the why of
yeah,
this.
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah. We'll tell this and then I got to wrap it up. But
Good. It's a good wrap.
But
Let's wrap
we're
it up.
at dinner last night, and this very nice waitress comes over and says, as we pay the tab, she
Madison
goes,
was her name.
Eddie pays the tab, he goes, I just want to interrupt this for 1 second. And she looks over at Blue Eyes McGee and says, I just want to let you know you are
Phenomenal.
And she paused. She went,
Phenomenal.
phenomenal actor. And Eddie was so shy and back. She was like, thanks. And she walks away. He's like, I still got it. It was good.
Should we tell him?
What's that?
Should we tell
Did you
him?
fucking pay for that?
Well, we were hoping you'd pay the
Did you?
bill.
Like,
Yeah.
he's-
And then
We said Madison.
Our friend's kind of a sad
If we do
guy,
that, we
yeah.
give him a little love right
He's
now. He's going to pay the bill.
If you ever-
He's also saved the most money out of everybody. There's a lot of reasons why.
You have to go over and say, listen, he's a golden retriever. Think look at the But hey, guys, I have to wrap this
Yep,
up. And I
that was
wanted to
awesome,
tell you, I want
AJ.
to tell you this. I love you both from the bottom of my
I
heart.
love you, man.
I'm
I'm
so, can we do this again?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. This was
you
great.
know, it means the world that we got to get together again.
Mhm.
Thank you to Gary Sinise.
Yes,
I'm
thank you,
hoping
Gary,
that it
for
doesn't
bringing us
go
all
this many
back.
years, but just you guys being here on me going out on my own doing this.
Yeah, congrats, man. This is
yeah.
amazing.
It's
Good for
cool.
you. You're
If
a
it were
hustler,
bar,
man.
I'd like stick a 20 on
Yeah,
the
I know.
wall right
But
now.
I love you
Sign,
guys,
yeah, so.
and thanks so much. And
love you,
everybody,
brother.
thanks for tuning in. And this was a great episode of Real Fake Seal.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Truth or fiction, which side you on? Real fake seal with sex appeal. Sunny